going on, guys? I know it's been a few months since I made a video. As you can see, I'll keep it short, but I am in a new area and we are starting back with a very cool software called Cloudlog. So as I was starting back and I finally got some radio gear hooked up to use, I started to look at maybe some new logging software because I'm kind of over the very old 90s, mid 2000s software look in amateur radio. I feel like it's time to start kind of moving forward and get some like decent looking UI. I know the old stuff is trusty, but I'm looking toward the future and checking out the new projects. Now, I don't know if this is new or not, but it looks good and it looks modern. It's called Cloudlog. And I was turned on to this by someone in my military affiliated amateur radio club, the Flag and Torch Society. If you guys are military, check it out in the description. He basically told me about this Cloudlog software. I'm a big fan of open source software. I also have servers, so I host my own software or my own servers of data when I can. So this is right up my alley because on top of this being a commercial solution to being able to log from any of your devices, as long as they're connected to the internet, to a central logging platform and it sync across them, you can also self-host this software for free and retain all the data in your own home. And I'm a big fan of that. So this software is made by either an entity or a company called MagicBug. The link to their website will be in the description. On their website, you have the choice of either downloading the software, and that's what we're going to be doing throughout this video and setting it up on our own to host, or you have the option to purchase a subscription. I think it's about $5 a month. And given that, it's really not a bad price for what it provides you. But in the end, it's kind of up to you. I would advise you go check out the website and kind of get an idea of the features. And if it's something that you like or something you agree with, check it out. For this video, we're going to walk through the steps to get your own instance self-hosted. And we're going to do this on a Linux server. So there is a certain prerequisite that you at least know how to install Linux on either a server or a Raspberry Pi or some type of piece of hardware. I'm not going to cover the install part. This is only going to assume that you have a working Ubuntu 22.04 or Debian 12 installation, and we're going to start from there. So that's not asking much. As long as you're logged in as root, we can go ahead and get started. If you guys like this type of stuff, let me know in the comments. I am going to be spinning up a virtual machine and putting it on my screen here, but I just want you guys to know that I've already typed up the blog post on how to do this. If you prefer a text tutorial, the link will be in the description. This video will be here to follow along with, though, if you get held up on something. As you guys can see, I actually am going to just be following along right with my blog post here on the right side, and this is the terminal into my server on the left side. Again, it's just a fresh install. I'm logged in as root. I haven't done anything else. So the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and just add a user to use, because we don't want to do everything as root. It's not best practice. So we're going to use this add user, and you can call it whatever you like. I'm going to use my call sign, and it's going to prompt for a password. So here I'm just going to type in my password that I'm creating now. We'll retype it, and we can hit enter through all these personal questions. And when it says, is this information correct? We're going to go ahead and put a capital Y for yes. So now we do have a user created. Now we're going to add that user to the sudo group. That way they can execute sudo commands, super user commands. So once again, we're going to use the username you just created, but the command is usermod ag sudo. And I'll put in my username. And now we're going to simply swap over to the user. And to do that, we're going to do su space the username. And now we are logged in as the user. So as with most of these little Linux installs, we're going to do an update and upgrade right off the bat. This will take care of any missing packages and weird updates that are kind of stuck behind. All right, so we're going to go ahead and issue the upgrade command. This will take care of whatever might be missing. These next two lines, I just divided it up for readability, but it's just going to go ahead and install some prerequisites of what we're going to need to get Cloudlog up and running. And I just want to say I provisioned this server with only 8 GB of memory and I think 1 GB of RAM. So this application is not very memory intensive, but I would go with at least 12 gigabytes. That way you have a little room to grow in case I'm not sure, your logs or your databases get massive. So I'm going to copy and paste this third command here. And again, this blog post is going to be in the description, so I'm not going to like talk about all the little caricatures I put in here. And we're going to let that go ahead and finish up. And then we're going to do the second set. And this is just kind of a waiting game. I've tried to make it as simple as possible. So this next command, we're going to go ahead and get into the database configuration. And we're using MariaDB. We've already installed it with the commands that we just did. So we're going to go ahead and issue this sudo Maria secure installation. And that's just going to go ahead and set up the database to make sure that the best security practices are being met. The first thing it's going to ask you is for the current root password. You don't have any for the database, just hit enter. Switch to Unix socket. We're going to do N for no. Change the root password. We're going to do nope. Remove anonymous users. We're going to do yes. Disallow root login remotely. We're going to do yes. Remove test database and access to it. We're going to do yes. Reload privilege tables now. Yes. So that takes care of setting some secure options there for MariaDB right off the bat. And we're going to go ahead and now start the database. So we're going to do sudo systemctl start mariadb.service. And now we're going to start MariaDB, or we're going to go into its console so we can create the database that Cloudlog will use, as well as provision a user for it. So we're going to go into this next section. We're going to go ahead and create the database. And this name, db_cloudlog, that's just something that I came up with. If you guys want to name it something different, that's fine. I just think that's pretty easy to remember. So this next option, create user, this is one line. And this is just creating a user for the database. So I'm going to paste it in. Before you hit enter, you may want to change your user. And that is what this Cloudlog user is right here. So if you want to change your username, and this is just for the database, this isn't to log into the web app, you can change your username here. And I'm just going to change it to cloud user. And at the very end, you'll see the password. And in this case, cloud user's password is being set to 123. So if you want to change that, you can change that to, whatever you would like. So I could do, I don't know, password 321. Now you'll have to remember what you put in here, right? Because you're going to need it in a few moments. But for me, cloud user is a username, password 321. I'm going to go ahead and enter. And now we are going to grant that user we just created privileges on the database we just created. So if you change the database name or the username, you'll have to change it here. I don't think I changed the database name. I did not, but I did change the user. So I'm going to change cloud login, Cloudlog user to cloud user, just like I created right here. So cloud user at localhost. Now we're going to flush the privileges, which basically just kind of updates the privileges, and we're going to do exit. Great. Now our database is configured. Easy, right? Here's a little picture if you guys need it in the future. So when we installed some apps there above, we also installed the Apache web server. So we're going to go ahead and remove the any files inside of it, which would have just been an HTML file template using the sudo remove command. And now we are going to clone the MagicBug Cloudlog software into the web server directory. So you can just copy and paste this command, sudo git clone, and then it's the website for Cloudlog, right? Or the Git repository. So that should be in our web app store now. Now this next section, you can actually usually just copy this entire block here, this sudo chown. And what's happening here is we cloned that repository as root into our web server folder. So what that means is now all those objects in there are owned by root. And typically with a web install, you don't want that. You want them to be owned by the www-data user, which is the typical owner of data in a web server. So we're going to run these commands right here. You should just be able to paste them all in, and it'll all run, and it'll change the user from root for those folders or files to www data. Now, some of those actually need to be executable, and they also need to be read and writable. So that's what this next section is going to do. So you can basically just copy all of this, paste it into your terminal, hit enter, and that's taken care of. Now, if you're using Ubuntu, you'll ship with UFW for your firewall. If you're using Debian, it's probably IP tables. So you're going to have to figure out how to open the port in your firewall. I know with this install of Ubuntu, I can use this command UFW allow in Apache, and it will open port 80 for me, which is where the web server is running. So if you have issues connecting to your web server and this command doesn't work, it's probably because you're using IP tables and you just need to go find out how to open port 80 on IP tables. So once the firewall is open, we're going to go ahead and restart Apache. And now we should be able to navigate to the IP address of our web server and go to the /install, and you can see the URL here, and actually start the installation. So if you don't know how to get your IP, you can do IP space A, and mine is right here. This is my local IP address, 10.10.20.102. So I'm going to go over here and open up a new tab and do http://10.10.20.102/install. Great. So it looks like this is our server. This is the files that we just installed. And this right here is just going to actually install the application into the database. So directory you can leave empty so long as you're installing it onto the root, which is what we have in this configuration. The default grid square, I'm going to put it in as my current one. I suggest you put yours in as your current grid square. Now the database settings, we installed the database on the same server, so it's going to be a local host. And the username is actually the username that we created above. So in my case, it was cloud user. I'm going to put in cloud user. And it'll use the password we created above. In my case, it was password 321. So we're going to put in password 321. And the database name is going to be the one we created, which is db_cloudlog. Now, when I hit install on this, it's just going to go into a white screen. It doesn't take long to build out the database, and we'll be ready to check out the application. You'll also see down here there's actually a default username and password, and that stays the same, unfortunately, right now. So if you missed it, that's okay. You can find it in my blog post. You can also find it in the wiki for Cloudlog, but the default username is M0ABC, all lowercase. The password is just demo, lowercase. So once you first log in, there's a couple things you want to do. Right off the bat, you want to go up to this little menu here, the admin menu, go to user accounts, create a new user, and here you're just creating an actual user for yourself in the database. I'm just going to put in some garbage information here for the most part because I already have an instance. This is just to show you guys. The user role you want to make sure is administrator. You can change your personal information, all that. I'm just going to go ahead and hit create account. So you have to put in your first, last, and call sign. So I'm going to put my first, last, and my call sign, and my grid square. And I'm going to go ahead and hit create account. Now, what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and we're just going to sign out of this demo account, and we're going to sign right into our created account. And we're going to go back to that account menu, and we're going to hit delete on this demo user. Yes, we're going to delete the user. So that takes care of the first part. We're going to go back to this home page by clicking Cloudlog, and we are going to go to this drop-down menu, again, the admin menu, and we're going to go to update country files. Next, you're going to hit update DXCC data. And this is basically just going to update some information for the database. The QSOs work all right. Everything's filtered into the right regions. Well, yada yada, right? It might take just a moment. It says done. I'm going to go back to the home menu. And it says you have no location, you have no station locations. So here you can create a station location and put in your home QTH and all your information for your logbook. The rest of this stuff is pretty straightforward. Now, if you're having trouble with it, do check out the wiki, and the link for the wiki will obviously be in the description. But it goes through the installation steps that are besides mine. Maybe you need something on this page that was for a different operating system, you know, what have you. But they also run into some things on the bottom here for creating automatic updates and actually using the program. Now, before I cut this video off, I want to tackle one more thing, and that is to remove this developer mode stuff. And that's what's causing all these debug information that you see here and the developer mode at the top. To do that, we're going to go into the, and I'll just follow my blog post like I have been. We're going to go into the var/www/html folder, and we're going to edit the index.php. So to do that, I'm going to type in nano. Actually, we're going to do sudo nano, and then the path to that index.php folder, right? Or sorry, file. When you hit enter, it's going to open up the file for editing, and we're going to scroll down until you see this environment. Now let me bring this over so you can see. You'll see that there's two lines here, and they both have the word development in them. All you have to do is change it to production. And we'll change the development over here to production. And then we're going to hit Control X, Shift Y, Enter. And now, once you refresh the page, you should not see development any longer. Now, to show you guys what this looks like after you get some QSOs, in there, filled out, things customized, I'll show you guys my instance. So once you have some stations in here, it starts looking a lot better. Also, you can do dark mode. But where I think this thing really excels at is the analytics. So you can really go in here and see statistics for your QSOs. There's also an activated grid square map. Or a grid square map with all the little stations that you've activated, kind of like how some of those other platforms would do. You can click on them and find out more information about stations worked in a specific grid square. You can see a timeline of all of your QSOs. There's a lot here, right? There's a lot of statistics you can view. There's a lot of functionality, and that's just the statistics. There's also, obviously, you can ADF import, export from Log of the World, automatic uploading the QRZ. There's also different add-ons you can do once you get into it through GitHub that people have created to do cat control through it. You can also have offline sync applications for it. So you can log your QSOs while you're in SOTA and POTA without signal. And once you go online, it'll push up to the server and log in here for you. So that's pretty much Cloudlog. Hope this video was helpful. Maybe Cloudlog will get into the hands of some people that might be able to do some, enjoy it like I do. I like to host my own servers. So I will say the developer, great job on this. I love the application. I did redo the installation instructions because I just wasn't happy with the bare Linux install. There were some weird choices in there. I just wanted to make it user friendly. I wanted to pitch the video, but I'm loving the project. Love what it is. It looks great, and I'll be using it for my logging. So if you guys have any questions, or if there's any other software like this you might want me to check out, let me know in the comments. And I appreciate you for watching. 73 to you.